Hi, everybody. Good evening. We are thrilled you're here. It looks like a large group of you have joined us. Just to let everyone know who was nervous, if you need to jump off earlier this evening or for some reason you've missed the webinar, we will resend it tomorrow via email, so you will have the entire duration of the webinar. The only thing is we are doing Q&A at the very end. So we're going to ask that people hold off until the end to ask questions, and we will go through all of those. So if you do have questions, please feel free to put those in the Q&A versus the chat feature in the bottom, and we will be sure to get to them. And of course, if you think of anything after the fact, feel free to email us, and we are happy to respond and answer those questions. So hi, my name is Maureen Basie. I'm one of the co-founders of Celiac Cruise. We're thrilled you're here. We're excited, 24 days. I know many of you have been looking forward to this for a very long time, as are we. And we are really excited to share with you all the detail tonight and just give you a little glimpse, because these pictures that you're seeing this evening are not stock photos. These are real pictures from this sailing 2 years ago. So it gives you a little bit more oomph to get excited that the food is really going to look like this. So enjoy, and please feel free to ask questions, and we're really looking forward to seeing you all. So I'll introduce Connie here. She's going to jump on, and then we also have Catherine Saunders here tonight with us. She will be joining us as well on our sailing, and many of you will, for those of you who are doing the Prague cruise, Catherine and I will be joining you there to just make sure everything is in tip-top shape and we're good to go. So Connie, I'll let you take it from here.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I have a little treat for you. Wow, what a beautiful video. And like Maureen said, these are real videos. These are real photos from our cruise last year. And our cruise manager, Raul, actually made that beautiful video for us. So, oops, let me go to the next slide. There we go. So for tonight's agenda, these are the things we're going to go over. We're going to talk about the ship and a little bit about the Prague trip for those of you that are going. There's 71 on the Prague trip. So a nice big group. We're going to talk a little bit about boarding day and the Oktoberfest celebration, our itinerary, the dining, excursions, just everything you need to know about the cruise, what to pack, and then the sad part, the disembarkation. So for those of you that are going to Prague, I would like to introduce you to Catherine. Catherine, do you want to say hello?
Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to join you all.
Yes, and Maureen will be there too. So those of you that are coming in a day before, then you're going to arrive on the 9th. Those of you that are coming in just for the pre-cruise, you would come in on the 10th. And by now you should have received your e-docs from AmaWaterways. If not, we can help you do that. But there's an AmaWaterways application, and you just open your app and all the information is in there. The app is great because it's going to be great information for the whole trip. So if you haven't downloaded the app and you're an app user, please feel free to do so. Maureen, don't you think that's a great app to use?
Yeah, the app is actually extremely user-friendly. And if you got to dig into it, like any app, I find that, when you first get in there, you're like, wow, there's a lot of buttons to click here. But once you kind of like explore. It really is a great way to get excited for your trip too, because it gives you a lot of the details about exactly what we're going to be doing and what your options are. You know, we're going to talk about shore excursions and things like that tonight a little bit. And, you know, you don't need to feel pressured to make those decisions, but I find it as a really kind of fun way to really get an idea of all the details that you're going to be seeing. So again, these photos, we did do a pre-inspection in Prague. So these photos are real gluten-free options. So I don't want to jump ahead, but I'll just talk about the food piece of this a little bit. I don't know if any of you know Matt from Gluten-Free Street Gang. He is just a fantastic advocate for the gluten-free community. He lives overseas. He's created this fantastic, it's 6 pages, but it's very, very user-friendly. It's just a fantastic guide that's going to have a lot of all of the gluten-free dining options available for you to just kind of look through and get excited to see, because, you know, you will have the opportunity to do dinners on your own and lunches in between our tours. But there's also like specifics about Prague, you know, and proximity to the astronomical clock. This is right down the street and things like that. So it's a really user-friendly specific guide. So we will be getting that to you this week. So be looking for that. So.
And we'll also have copies at the hotel as well. And Raul will be at the hotel too. So Raul has been our cruise manager on all of our celiac cruise charters. So he is amazing to work with, and he and Catherine and Maureen will be there to greet you and to help you get all set up. But the first day you just arrive at the hotel, and then there'll be a welcome toast that evening. The time has not yet been confirmed, but when you check in at the hotel, Raul will know, because he is the one that is in charge of that. And then Saturday, you have a delicious gluten-free breakfast included, long day tours, lunch on your own. Then Sunday morning, you get up and there's some information about some to-go lunches for those of you that are on the pre. We're going to send you a specific email when we get a little bit closer, but there's a couple of options for food. You can either try to find something along the way on the trip from Prague down to Vilshofen, where the ship is, but we're going to provide gluten-free lunches from a dedicated gluten-free restaurant. So the menu will be coming out, and you'll be able to select the sandwich that you want from the list. So just stay tuned on that, because that's something that will be, taken care of a little bit closer, and only those that are going to Prague, that's for them. So you'll all arrive at the ship at about 4 o'clock. For the rest of you that are coming not to Prague, but coming directly to the ship, you'll be arriving in Munich, and there you will take your transfer from Munich to the ship, and all of that information should be in your eDocs, which is in your app as part of the app. And we can show you how to do that. But it's really a beautiful floating luxury resort. She's just gorgeous. There's 78 staterooms, as you can see, many of them with French balconies. Many of them have double balconies. The cool thing that a lot of people don't know is that they do have massage services and hair salon on board. So if you need, a little cut, or you need, a massage, the massage facility is very small, and there's even a small gym on board. But it's just beautiful. The sun deck is a great place to just sit and watch the world go by. It's just beautiful. There is a heated pool, so if you're so inclined, it would be a lot of fun to bring your suit and meet you in the pool, and maybe enjoy sailing by the beautiful scenery while you're in the pool. But it's a beautiful resort. It's our home away from home, and you're just going to fall in love with it. The big deal is, I'll introduce this and then I'll let Maureen talk about it. But the big deal on the first day is our embarkation welcome aboard. So whenever you get to the ship, the cabins may or may not be ready. So you can drop your luggage off and go really look at the beautiful town of Vilshofen. It's just a cute little quaint European town, German town. It's 2 streets Can't get lost. It's gorgeous, beautiful scenery. But then either right before or right after dinner, depending upon the timing, we have a great party. Maureen, tell us about that.
Well, the many things that I think we think about as, Celiac Cruise was created as trying to give back those things that are immediately taken off you can never do this again. So, Alma Waterways traditionally has an Oktoberfest party on this sailing. And of course, I got some ideas and was like, wait, there's a way we can do this. Let's bring back something that, we never thought you'd do again, a gluten-free Oktoberfest with beer and soft pretzels. So collectively, we've worked, a few years ago, I won't get into the stories of what it takes to get Holidaily beer all the way from Golden, Colorado, all the way over to Germany. But we figured out a way, so we will have Holidaily beer there. Those soft pretzels are real life photos, as I mentioned, from 2 years ago. So it's just a really, really fun celebration. That's the town comes out for it. So there's like a local, I don't know, she's the queen of Vilshofen. So she'll come out and, it's just a really kind of a fun thing to do. There's dancing, there's contests, as you can see here on the far right photo, but we encourage you, it's not required, but the whole Oktoberfest festivity dress is encouraged, not required, but again, it's a really, really fun thing to be able to do. So great photo opportunity. So we hope you'll join in the fun, even if you want to just do one of those like t-shirts you can get on Amazon, that have, the overalls and such. So there's plenty of options out there. So come prepared for a fun time. And then we will board the ship. What's neat is the Oktoberfest is literally right off the ship on the land, the pier right next to us. So it's, and what's very different than from river cruising, if you haven't done this before, is you can walk on and off so casually. There's not a whole lot of production there. So you're on and off the ship in minutes. So we'll then all proceed to dinner immediately following the party. Again, more photos of the fun in store.
Yes.
Some of these were from excursions. Others are from just, photos of the good times here. So
actual photos too.
Mm-hmm.
So shore excursions are all included. All excursions are included. So every day there's 3 different options of excursions. On the bottom right, you can see there's bicycle tours. So if you're active and want to do a bicycle ride, those are available in lots of ports. If we're in a port of call and you just want to ride the bicycle around, they'll take the bike off the boat and put it on the land so that you can just go ride the bicycle wherever you want. We're going to go to see some of the most beautiful places along the route. In your eDocs, which is part of your app, you'll have a sailing schedule. And there you'll see all the details of all the excursions that you can take. There's a couple of shore excursions that are all day long. And if they are all day and miss a meal, then you can pack a lunch and take it with you. So we are always back on the ship for meals. But if you choose one of the excursion that goes all day, then you'll have the option to take a meal with you. But the one on the left, that's the Melk Abbey. That's my highlight. That's my favorite place to go. And then the bicycles, Maureen did one of those before too. I think we have a video here soon, but let's talk a little bit about food. Who wants to have anything to eat, right? So this is the beautiful dining room on board. It's open seating. You sit wherever you want with whomever you want. If you go on an excursion and you meet a new friend or another couple or another family or another group, and you all want to sit together for lunch, do that. If you want to sit with different people at dinner, do that. If you want to sit with the same 2 people all week, do that too. Whatever you want to do, it's your vacation. But as you can see on the left, there is a lot of different options. There are a lot of different options for breakfast. Late risers, early lunch, casual lunch, al fresco lunch, takeaway lunch, main dining room. We all go after sip and sail each evening. And sip and sail is amazing time where we all go up to the lounge, which is just one deck up from this photo, and we all hear about tomorrow's journeys. So Raul will tell us all about what the options are for tomorrow. And while we're sipping and sailing, or sipping and sitting, whatever, and he'll tell us about what we're going to do tomorrow, because he will explain what the options are for the excursions. And then right after that, we all go down to dinner. And then, Maureen, you want to talk about the chef's table experience in the back?
Of course. So you'll see the photos kind of towards the right and towards the bottom. This ship, I mean, it's stunning. It's this kind of exclusive venue. Every single guest gets the opportunity to do it at least once. You will book that in the beginning. I think with the purser in the beginning, Raul will give us all of this information. That's the beautiful part about, river cruising, is like you hear the information and there's no risk at missing out at something. So don't feel that pressure. I got to get on board and I have to sign up for this right away, because that is just not how these things operate. So everyone gets an opportunity. It's like, again, back to what I was talking about with the Oktoberfest party, like a 6 to 8 course, like wine pairing meal, like gluten-free. Huh? So, I mean, it's again, one of those just really, really unique, like exquisite. It's beautiful. I mean, they're cooking right back there, in this separate little smaller galley. And it's a really very, very intimate, lovely evening. Sometimes people choose to get a little more dressed up for this night, but there's really, really, we'll talk about that in a little bit. There's no pressure to do so. But it's just an opportunity we encourage you all to try, because it really is something, also if you were to price out something like this at home or anywhere, you think about what the cost of this is. So it's really, really special that's included in your cruise.
One of the nights is a special night in the menu as well, because this Ama Waterways is part of the Champ de Rôtisserie, which I didn't say right, but that's as close as I can get. It's a group of people who get together or have gotten together and have exquisite food, and you have to be invited to join this Champ de Rôtisserie, whatever. Alma Waterways has been invited, and they are part of this club, and all of their chefs have been trained. And so one night we will have a special dinner that they're going to explain it to us, and Raul will do a much better job of pronouncing it, and he'll also do a much better job of explaining it. But just know that there's one night that's really, really special, and the menu is taken from the Sean group, and you're just in for a big treat. Here again, it's included in the cost of the cruise.
So what we love about Ama is it feels like this very upscale kind of experience, but it looks like it, but it feels as warm and friendly as you're ever going to find. And, like all of our cruise partners, I mean, these people have become our family and friends, and they ask to be a part of it. They enjoy the challenge of, I've been working, the chef on the top right corner there, his name's Joseph, and he's been on every single sailing. And he'll message me and be like, Maureen, I've been working at trying to perfect this recipe. So it's just really, really sweet that they take it so seriously, but they really, really enjoy it. And you all will most definitely see that. Raul on the far left, whose name we've mentioned many times, he is the cruise manager, and he runs the show, so to speak, but he is additionally gluten-free. So this is a really special thing for him, and he always wants to be a part of it. And you all will just grow to love Raul. And, there'll be stories that that will make a lot more sense at the end of how he wakes us up in the morning with his like German voice. And it's a really, really great group of people. So be prepared for that. We do have many returning guests who have sailed with us before, either on ocean cruises or even on other on our waterways sailing. So we are looking forward to seeing many of you again, and then also welcoming so many of you into our family. So it's going to be a great, great week.
And weather depending, we are going to plan a group photo like this on this cruise as well. We don't know the time or date yet because we want to make sure the weather's absolutely perfect if we can. So plan to have your face in the next cruise photo like this one. You didn't mention in the top Alex. So he's in the top with you and me, Maureen, in the picture. Alex is, he's just fun. He's really in charge of the dining room and the food, not the chef part, but making things happen. And he has really taken us under his wing as well, and make sure he's like a little mama bear taking care of us. And you'll get to know and love Alex. So he's a wonderful gentleman, and we're excited to have him back as well. So in the middle, I'm going to embarrass Maureen here, but see the girl in the yellow? So it's going to show again and again and again. That's Maureen. She's riding the bike. So as you can see, there are bicycle tours, and then I'm standing there filming her, and I'm on a walking tour. So you can see that my guide has a lollipop there, and it's green, and it has the color of my tour. But the tours are fun. That was a fun bicycle ride, wasn't it? And Catherine was on that too, she said, but that was fun.
They're always so fun. I mean, what's amazing about these excursions is that, you know, you have options to do, like there's no pressure to feel like you need to do something, you know, the bike, or you're going to miss out, because you're going to get to see the same things. It's just you have different like modalities to do so. So that's really, really amazing for that. So so we encourage you, you know, if you haven't ridden a bike for 20 years, you know, maybe try it in the next few days, because they're not super intense either. You know, yes, you have to be able to ride, and there are a few hills, but I'm ready to move to the next slide because I'm tired of watching me.
Well, before we do, you can see in the top left that that's our itinerary, and that's everywhere. So that'll be in your app and all the e-docs and everything. But we're going to cover quite a bit of ground. It's just a beautiful territory, and we're going to have a great time. So let's talk about food. Oh my gosh. So the cool thing about the food is that it's all just so delectable. It's not, everything is just so much love and care is put into every single item, and it's beautiful. Like, you know, it used to be a big deal to make pictures of your food. This is one of those cruises that you're going to want to make pictures of your food. So these are actual photos of our cruise and our food, and it tastes as good as it looks. You can order, you know, appetizers and entrees and salads and soups and desserts. There's several different, gosh, Maureen, wouldn't you say at least 4 or 5 different options in every single category? It's a plethora.
Most definitely. You will not be hungry. As you saw on a slide before, you know, we've got breakfast, and, you know, just in case you want to sleep in, you've got the opportunity to have a late riser, and there's an early riser, and then there's lunch. And then if you don't want to have the formal sit down lunch, you can eat in the lounge, and that's more, you know, burgers and pizza, and, you know, you can easily take it up on the sun deck and things like that. And then dinner, and then there's a late night snack in the lounge. So it is a lot of food. We encourage you to savor every last bite, even if it's just to have a bite, just to be able to try these things, because they really, really work very, very hard, the detail of all of it.
So ship life aboard. As the top left shows, there's a small gym. There's some weights and some bicycles. There's the room for the massages. The top left is the top deck. That's the sun deck. One of the things that's not mentioned here, but is included, is there's a wellness host on every single AmaWaterways cruise. And the wellness host will be doing morning yoga classes. He'll be, or she will be, doing bicycle tours. He or she will do digestive walks after dinner. So after this, or after lunch, even after breakfast, if it's big enough, he or she will offer the opportunity to go around the track on top as we're either sitting or sailing, to help kind of walk off those extra pounds from all the extra desserts and everything. The hairdryer here is kind of an interesting photo. Maureen, do you want to tell us about that?
I'm happy to do that. Okay, so I actually took this photo of the hairdryer because many of you asked this question, and I care about the hairdryer that I use. So I think it's helpful to actually see the hairdryer, because seeing the hairdryer makes you know that, okay, this is a decent hairdryer. So please do not feel pressured to bring one, because you will be very happy with what is available in the cabin. So yes, that is why there is a photo of that.
Yes. And also, so many of the outlets in Europe are, European. So if you bring a hairdryer for the States, there's a pretty good chance that, it might not work in the hotels, or, there is one plug on the ship that's US, and then there's one plug in each cabin that is European. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. So here's what to pack, and you don't need to make a picture of this because we're going to be sending this out in an email. But pretty much, the things not to forget are comfortable shoes, comfortable clothing. During the day, it's very casual. Jeans, really good, comfortable walking shoes. Europe is not very ADA accessible when it comes to like the streets. There's a lot of cobblestone streets, a lot of just walking on uneven surfaces. There's a lot of even surfaces too, but just plan to do a lot of amazing walking. So bring some great walking shoes. The good thing about AMA is there's 3 levels of each one of the excursions. So typically there's a gentle walkers excursion that's for those that need a little extra time, and that's been me on previous cruises sometimes. There's a regular for those that can walk just normal, and then there's usually an active one like Maureen did on the bike ride and things like that. So just plan on layers and maybe a light jacket, of course sunglasses, prescription medications, over the counter. The EU adapter is here. There is a US plug, like I said, in the cabin, and there's also a European plug in the cabin. So if you bring an adapter, you can charge your phones and things. The ship has an Apple TV. So if you have the older Apple phones, you can actually, or other Android phones, you can actually, put the USB into the side of the Apple TV and charge your phones that way. I've done that before. If you're going to go in the pool, you'll want to bring your suit and currency. I'll just talk about that real fast. So we have found that it's just as easy to take money out of the ATM in Europe as it is to pre-order it here. Just make sure you let your bank know that you're traveling, and also your credit cards, so that they don't decline any purchases. But honestly, Maureen and I have both done it in Europe, where we just go to the ATM and withdraw cash, and it comes out in the correct European currency. So, and the fees are about the same, unless you have, other ideas. But the bottom one is pretty important. You can certainly ask for gluten-free snacks on the plane, but as you know, that doesn't always come through. So you need to plan to bring gluten-free snacks for the travel, just in case they don't have a meal for you, or in case you want to have extra snacks along the way, because as we know, it's not always as they say, right?
But the good news is you only have to worry about that on the way over, because a photo here, again, this is 2 years ago. We don't want to give away all the surprises, but you all will be receiving one of the gifts that we provide you is something that keeps things cool. So you can probably guess what that is, but that's for many reasons. It's for purposes of longer excursions. So in the days that, the excursions are a little longer, this is the setup that they do. So essentially it's a sandwich station. So you go up and you can individually select what you want for your sandwich. And then there's, you know, some sides they put in there. If you choose, you can even have a gluten-free beer in the lunch, water bottles, things like that. So, you know, and in the past, you know, they really, really try and have a great like level of variation. You know, we know that many of you have additional dietary restrictions. AmaWaterways is amazing with that. So they'll definitely have alternatives and things like that for your needs. But in addition to those excursions, you will have this same setup the morning that we are leaving the ship. So you'll have a nice, you know, you can take 2, you can take 3, whatever you need to do, just to make sure you have a safe meal to be able to take home. So, you know, again, one of the things as we go through these logistics, that they were so very, very happy to accommodate once they really start to understand that, you know, the challenges of what airports are like and things like that. So only, you know, worry about that on the way over, but when you go home, we'll take care of you. So.
And with that, we're down to the Q&A. I do want to let everyone know that due to some changes, we actually have a couple of cabins available. And so if you're interested in upgrading to maybe the top deck or maybe a bigger cabin, that's available. So just reach out to us if you're interested in perhaps you know, having a bigger cabin or a different location and you're interested in that, just let us know and we can let you know what the price is. So that's just something we wanted to throw out. I think we have some questions in the Q&A.
Yes, let's see. And again, feel free to get these rolling and we can answer those for you as they come. Connie, I'm going to give you this one. So the flooding and concerns about the flooding.
Sure. So great question. You know, nobody knows what Mother Nature is going to throw at us, right? So, you know, Maureen and I were talking about this earlier today. The good news is that it's, you know, hopefully already flooded out. And so not flooded out, but you know, it's over. These things usually are finished in a couple of days. So hopefully the rain stops and, you know, the waters recede and everything is back to normal. I had a very close friend of mine on an AmaWaterways cruise a few years ago, and the water was too high or too low, one of them, and they did have to make some adjustments. And he worked for Disney and in customer service. And he said he was blown away by how AmaWaterways handled it so perfectly. So they have a plan. We're not even going to worry about it because worrying is not going to change one little thing. We're going to be we're going to look into it and, you know, know what's going on. But as you know, worrying is not going to help anything. And there's a really great chance that it's not even going to be a thing because we still have 3 weeks before we even go over there. So if we were leaving in 2 days, it might be something different. But as of now, I've seen these things before in years past, and it's I mean, they handle it perfectly. So let's hope it doesn't. But if it does, just know that you're going to be well taken care of. And the few times that it's ever happened, they've done it just flawlessly.
And I will say, we have one of our guests whose home is in Austria, and I saw a message that it seems like things are already starting to slow down and the waters are already receding. In addition, I spoke with someone from the AmaWaterways team that is actually on the Danube right now, and they echoed exactly what that comment was, that, you know, yes, the last few days have been a little stressful, but they all feel very confident that things are starting to slow down, and things already today in itself started to, you know, resemble normalcy. So just feel good about that, you know, and things seem to be moving in the right direction. Okay, let's see. All right. that. Drinks. Let's talk about the drinks. Drinking, the alcohol is included at breakfast if you want. Sorry. I know that they do have a, champagne mimosa option should you be interested in that. I guess, that's really what it is. It's not like drinking. Lunch, you are wine and beer is available. And then at dinner, wine and beer is additionally available. And prior to dinner, as we've talked about the sip and sail, there's kind of a signature cocktail that, it's an hour, happy hour before dinner. So you'll have that opportunity. And then, beyond that, I will tell you, no one's really ever left these ships with a significant bar tab. It's just they pour these glasses pretty nice pours and things. I'm just trying to be appropriate here, but they take care of you. They want you to enjoy your vacation. They're not there to make money off of the bar. So, but of course, if you wanted, a specific beverage at, 10:30 at night, in the lounge, those are scenarios in which there is a small charge. But again, I say small charge, because it's not significant at all.
So just to recap, breakfast, lunch, and dinner have free beer and wine. And then there's a happy hour with open bar before dinner. And then a little super secret trick is right at the end of dinner, ask them to give you a little more wine right before you leave dinner. And then you have at least one glass to take up with you for the, for the lounge. So yeah, awesome.
Are there any locks we will be going through? Yes, there are. Gosh, I wish I could tell you, Mike, offhand, the number. I feel disappointed. There's significant numbers of locks. I mean, it's a fun thing to do if you've never done it before. Sometimes they're in the daytime, sometimes they're at night, and it's just a really kind of a unique thing to see. So you will be going through a series of locks, and I'll do better and get that number for you ASAP. Description of the difficulty level for bike rides. Raul will go through this specifically, and I think, depending upon each excursion and location, so maybe one particular bike ride, maybe 8 miles, whereas the next day is 6 miles. So I think if you're interested in, giving it a go, I would talk directly to Raul, and he can give you those specifics as to which one to try and which one may be a little bit harder. But in terms of difficulty, like I said, you probably don't want to jump on a bike if you haven't done this in years, but at the same time, I don't think it's a super challenging ride, if that helps.
Well, and one other thing to say is you can't pre-reserve any bicycle tours because Raul has to actually talk to you personally to tell you about, he's supposed to tell you about the tours on board the ship, and he will have you sign the waivers there. So if you're in the app and you see bicycle tours, you won't be able to reserve those until you get on board the ship. So I hope that makes sense.
We will be disembarking very early. Will Alma still be able to provide us with a travel meal? I'm sure, we can work through that. So just make sure, in the beginning of the week when nobody wants to talk about the end, that we just kind of know the specifics, and I'm sure we can plan something for you without a doubt. They're incredibly accommodating. So you rarely hear a no. So non-alcoholic beer and wine on board. So I know that they do have non-alcoholic offerings, mocktails and such. I actually did some research. I do not know of unfortunately, a non-alcoholic certified gluten-free beer. So I know for a fact there is definitely no non-alcoholic gluten-free beer because I don't think they make it. But another story that's unfortunate, but it is what it is from that perspective. Wine, we'll have to get that information. So I will be happy to reach out and see if we can get that information. But we do have plenty of options as it relates to mocktails, and they really do a good job at trying to make sure, there's fun looking beverages as well. So general weather, like Connie, why don't you take that?
Sure. So it's October in Europe, which is glorious. It's going to be, from those of us in Florida, that it's still 90 degrees every day. It's going to be a breath of fresh air. It's going to be fall. And so if it's sunny, it could be warm enough for shorts. If it's cloudy, then you might want a jacket. Jeans are going to be really appropriate for this cruise, especially during the day with your comfy tennis shoes or comfy walking shoes. But as you can see in the photo, a lot of these folks have on, like a jacket or a sweater or long sleeves. So, hopefully it's going to be beautiful and sunny the whole time, but even when it's cloudy, it's amazing. I'll answer the next one. It says one suitcase. So I think that's more just because the cabins, you can fit one suitcase underneath your bed, but you can bring as much luggage as you want. There's obviously some limitations to what the airline will let you bring, like 2 free checked bags or 1 checked bag or whatever your airline will allow. But the cruise line doesn't really have a limit to what you can bring. We bring more than 1 suitcase. It's just that the bed only is big enough for 1 each if you want to, tuck it under the bed after you unpack.
Are there computers available for a little work while vacationing?
So I bring my laptop, and you can, there's free Wi-Fi. You can bring your iPad. There are Apple TVs in the cabin, and there are keyboards in the cabin that go with that TV. I have always just brought my own laptop or iPad or worked from there. But the Wi-Fi is free. It's actually pretty good. There could be some times, depending upon how we're sailing, where the signal might be a little weak for a few minutes, or especially if we're in a lock. Sometimes when we're in the locks, the signal goes away for a little bit, but it works really well. And they really do a good job of keeping us connected. So you can connect back home. You can turn your phone on airplane mode and connect to the ship's Wi-Fi and send messages back home. You can do Wi-Fi calling. You can go through WhatsApp. You can go on Facebook. You can do messages. So there's a lot of things you can do on airplane mode connected to the ship's Wi-Fi. And it's complimentary.
And it's excellent. It's really, really reliable as well. Does the transport to the boat depart from the Munich airport or the Hilton Hotel?
The transportation departs from the Munich airport, and it should be in your eDocs. If you have any question, just reach out to us so that we can answer your specific question. But in every person's individual eDocs in your app, you will see where you are supposed to meet your transfer. But if you book the one through AMA from the Munich airport, then you would need to meet at the Munich airport at the designated space that's in your app. It shows you exactly where to meet.
If we purchase alcohol off the boat, can we bring it on board with us?
Absolutely. There's no corkage fees. There's no anything at all. You can bring liquor, you can bring wine, you can bring whatever you want on board the ship, and there's no problems at all.
Are there any medical staff on board for first aid, etc.?
So there's no medical staff on board, but as you can see from the ship's photo right here on this screen, we're just steps away. So we've actually had an issue in the past, a situation where someone did need medical attention. It took us about 4 minutes maybe to dock, and they were on a ambulance headed to the hospital. Luckily, that person was fine and came right back. But it happens, right? And so you're very close to being able to just have that right there.
Also, does each cabin have an ironing board and an iron?
Irons are not good on a cruise ship because irons, they don't want to fire. So there's no iron or ironing boards. They can press your things for you for a small fee. They have laundry services on board too. So you put your laundry in a bag, they charge per item, and then it comes back in a couple of days. So that's one of the services that they offer, and they do offer pressing. However, remember, there's 150 people on board who also don't have pressing. So we'll all just wear a little wrinkled clothing, and maybe hang it up, and most of the wrinkles will fall out.
Can you description of different levels of the walking tours?
Sure. So there's three different levels. One is called a gentle walker. One time I was on a river cruise on AMA waterways and I had a really bad case of plantar fasciitis and I was having the worst time walking ever. So on that particular cruise, the entire cruise, I was a gentle walker. And what that means is I had a small group with me, or sometimes I was just with the tour director alone, and they went my pace. Or maybe they took me on a golf cart, or maybe they took me, a different way. And that's the gentle walkers. The regular tours are for everyone else that is, active and walking and wants to go on the tour. And, they'll tell you how much walking is involved or if there's any hills or anything like that. And then the third level, sometimes in the ports of call, there's three levels. And the third level is that active. There's a castle hike where you go to the top of the mountain and you can see the top from the ship. There's the bicycle rides, all of those kind of things. And those are available, also complimentary, but they're just available based on your comfort level of how active you are.
Do you think there will be an opportunity to buy authentic lederhosen in Vilshofen? Would love to maybe get some prior to the party. I like it.
I don't know that there's, we get there. It's such a small town. There's two streets. There are a couple of stores. You will see authentic lederhosen on the trip, but I don't know about having it in Vilshofen.
Well, I guess it depends where you're going to be beforehand. Obviously, if you're flying into Munich, that might be a good place to look. If you're with us in Prague, I'm sure we do stop in, Regensburg, which they have tons of shops there. So there may be opportunities there, but Raul has some excellent ones. So I'll check in with him and see if I can get you more information. The e-docs talk about earbuds for the device provided for the tours. Any additional information? Is this a specific type?
So they provide those to us and they work perfectly. So if you want to, they're the kind that just goes over one ear, and that way you can hear around, but you can still hear the person that's talking. I love the fact that they have the devices because you're in a small group, but you don't want to be standing right up next to the person the whole time. You might want to go over here and look at this beautiful whatever, but you can still hear all of the conversation going on. So they provide those for you.
Can we use a Roku on the TV or using an HDMI plug-in?
I don't know.
I'm not sure. That's can you send me an email at info@celiaccruise.com, and just as a reminder, and I'd be happy to get that specific question answered for you. Just go ahead and send that and I will. And anybody else who has questions, that's the email address we'd love for you to use. So it's just info@celiaccruise.com. Are dressed up jeans okay for dinner?
Yes, it's your vacation. You can wear whatever you want. Well, not whatever you want, but it's your vacation. We want you to be comfortable. And if that's what you want to wear, then absolutely.
We touched on laundry. So yes, so you're able to do laundry. There is a small fee for it, but they turn it around very quickly too. So that's definitely an option. What hair tools can we bring? Hot rollers. So obviously the main concern of any caution here is fire, and obviously bringing something from the US has different wattage, even if you're using a converter. So they do have curling irons as well as straighteners. I think that's ship specific. As it relates, like actually European ones that you can borrow from the front desk. I'm not sure. I mean, it would just depend on the roller specific. I mean, there's always, I don't want to say because I've actually burnt and broken one of my devices by bringing it and plugging. So that's always a chance. But, if it's not not getting super hot, you might be able to try it with a converter, but I didn't say that officially. Can you feel the boat moving at night while sleeping? Do people get seasick from this?
No, this is, as you can see the river there, the only time you ever feel anything is, like if another boat passes you, but it's like for 1 second, and then it's over. You do feel the boat, if we pull in and out of you know, a port or a lock or something, but it's not seasickness at all. There's no motion. It doesn't sway or go back or forth or anything like that. It's just very calm. But if you wanted to plan, I mean, if you wanted to bring a, something just so you don't have to worry about it, I think it's better to be prepared. And then, but we've never had anybody have any motion sickness at all.
Yeah, I always say, because a dear friend of mine sailed with us a few years ago, and she's always very nervous to go on the ocean cruises with us, Royal Caribbean sailing. So, but you actually see the swans like bobbing by in the wake, if that's any type of like parallel, that these swans like will sail by all of these swans, and so it is very, very gentle. So I really would doubt that you would feel anything with that. Do most of the cities have Uber?
So over there, they use different. Some of the cities do have Uber. You would just have to open the app and see. If you have a particular question about that, you can let us know and we can try to answer that for you. The only Uber you would probably ever need or want would be, to and from the airport. But because even in like Vienna, there's transportation provided to and from the ship. So yeah. The next one is about if a family member has an emergency back home and needs to get a hold of you, how can they do that? That's in the eDocs, all that information of how to reach the ship. We will also, on our very last email that goes out to you, put our cell phone numbers, mine and Maureen's, and you can happily let your family know that. But here again, remember, you're going to be connected to Wi-Fi the whole time. So you can certainly just have them text you or call you on your Wi-Fi calling for free. You're not going to be far from the internet at any time. So even the hotels have it.
Can my non-celiac spouse bring non-gluten-free alcohol on the ship? So this response is with all the love in our hearts that we have. The answer is no, and primarily because we even have the captain. So this entire crew is gluten-free. They sign a contract that they're not bringing any gluten on this ship for the duration of our sailing. The people in the hair salons and such. So everyone is 100% gluten-free. Obviously what you do in ports of call is, as long as it's not in a, group excursion event, if you're out on your own, you're free to do what you want. But as it relates to gluten on the ship, we do really try and restrict that, again, for purposes of just that, everybody has committed to doing this. And it's a kind of a testament, I think, to just this entire operation. So is the gym open 24/7?
I think it probably is. However, because it's separated from, it's on the bottom deck and it's away from the cabin. So I don't think you would be disturbing anybody. But we can certainly check on that as well. If you want to send us an email, we can find out. Never had anybody ask that one before. So great question. This is great.
The only thing I will say is, because remember, I think it was on the Seine, the jogging track. It's a beautiful jogging track up on the top. There was somebody who I think wanted to go for a run at like 5 o'clock in the morning. And, while everybody is encouraging you to vacation as you will, unfortunately, those on the third deck were hearing that person go around and around and around at 5 o'clock in the morning. So we did kind of set guidelines as to please, hold off on your running. And sometimes, again, you'll see we pull into these like village, like towns. So it's a very safe environment if you want to just jump off the ship, and if we're in fact docked, and, you know, go for a little jog out in the area. So will Prague pre-cruise group have time in Regensburg en route to the ship, or is it just a straight bus ride?
So yes, you'll be leaving Prague in the morning, and then you'll be stopping in Regensburg for about 2 or 3 hours. You'll get a tour of Regensburg, some free time, some time to stretch your legs, and then a small drive from there down to the ship. So it's not just a straight bus ride. You get quite a bit of time in Regensburg, and that's a beautiful little city.
If we're in dock for the final night in Budapest, is there a curfew time we have to be back?
No, there's never a curfew of when you need to be back, other than you need to be back before we sail away. So sometimes, let's say we get to Budapest and we're docked downtown, but later that night we're going to be moving to where we're going to be staying overnight. You would just want to ask the front desk, you know, hey, I'm going to go out in town and walk around. You know, what time do I need to be back? And they'll tell you what time all aboard is for each port of call. But there's never really a curfew unless the ship is actually moving.
Some of us are not gluten-free. Can we bring non-gluten-free items on the ship? As I just mentioned, yes. So no, we are going to ask that you please respect that and keep all gluten off of our dedicated gluten-free ship, just for purposes of safety for everyone. What's the latest time to board? I guess that means embarkation day, like day one.
Yeah. So, I mean, the ship doesn't sail till the next morning. So, I mean, if you were delayed, you could still make it to the ship, because we're going to spend the night in Vilshofen. But, you know, you'll want to get to the ship in mid-afternoon if possible. I don't know what time your flight arrives, but most flights arrive in the morning. And then the transfers from the airport are, you know, timed at like 11:30 or something. So it's a 2-hour ride from the Munich airport to the ship. And so most people will be getting there mid-afternoon, but latest time would probably be the next morning. But if there are any delays, you would just reach out to us. You're going to have our phone numbers, and then we will be in touch with our cruise manager, Raul, who will be holding your hand the whole time to make sure that you catch us wherever we are. And same thing with like luggage or anything like that. Raul handles all of that. Just amazing.
For the concert in Vienna, can it be paid for on the ship once you board, or does it have to be paid in advance? If it's paid on board, then is it in euros?
It is in euros, and it is paid on board. It's optional. It's something that's amazing, but you don't have to go. It's at dinner, after dinner one night, and they offer an early dinner that night for people who want to go to the concert. It's an amazing opportunity to hear a concert in Vienna. And so you book that and you pay for it in advance. Sorry, on the ship with Raul. So or with the front desk. You don't do that ahead of time.
Will the ship have vegan options? Yes, most definitely. As I mentioned earlier, additional dietary restrictions. They do a fantastic job, but that includes, you know, vegan options. We will encourage you on the first day, and we'll kind of talk about this when people board. We have a little bit of like a sit down time. If you have additional dietary restrictions, we have you come and sit down actually with the chef and Alex, who we mentioned, who is, you know, the corporate maitre d', to kind of just go through that so they can make sure that you're taken care of, and, you know, from day one through the conclusion of the ship, of the sailing. Okay, let's see. Oh, language cards. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, so you will be in that email I mentioned this week that will be coming out. We do, Equal Eats has created these perfect little translation cards for us in 4 languages, because we will be going through countries with 4 different languages. That those of you who are joining us in Prague for the pre, you will receive those cards when you check in with us in the lobby. But for those of you who you will be meeting on the ship for the first time, we will have those cards for you when you when you join. But you will see in the email, we have a a version of it that you can kind of cut out if you wanted to, and print. It'll be a PDF, so you can use that in the interim before you get the actual hard the cards. Can I book a massage or spa appointments ahead of time?
No, you book those on board the ship with the front desk once you get on board the ship. So you can do that directly.
Is the name of our ship pronounced Viola or Viola? Great question.
Well, I guess that depends on where you're from, because where I'm from, we probably would have said Viola, but it's probably Viola, wouldn't you say?
From what I've heard, I hear AmaViola. That's how we hear them saying it. So yes. If we are on the Prague group, do we get picked up at the airport in Prague?
So we have two questions here. Both of them are about how to get to the ship or to Prague. So if you have a question, just reach out to us and we'll answer it. But in general, if you booked AMA Air and you are coming in on the day of the pre-trip in Prague, or you're coming in the day of the cruise in Munich, then your transfer is included. If you come in any other time, or if you booked your own air, then you have to pay for a transfer to get to the ship. And that would be something that at this point we would have to find a private transfer or something to get you to the ship. There are trains as well, but in Prague, Prague is close enough to where you can just grab a taxi, and taxis are pretty easy over there. I think there's even Uber in Prague. Do you remember, Maureen?
Yes, definitely. There is. I used it many times. If luggage is lost by the airline on arrival, is there any way to coordinate delivery at a port?
Yep. So that's Raul. He's going to hold your hand the whole time. He's going to be calling the airlines. He's going to be the person who's going to be your hero. You're going to love the fact that he's going to take really good care of you.
What time generally is a Vienna concert?
It's right after the early dinner, and it's not like we have an early and late dinner, but that night specifically, AMA offers an early, prior to our normal 7 or 7:30 or whatever time we normally eat. They offer an early seating for those people that want to go to the Vienna concert. So I think I remember eating about 5:30 or 6, and then maybe the concert started at 7 or 7:30. But Raul will tell us once we're on board.
Can credit cards be used for most things?
Yes, credit cards are great. They don't take American Express pretty much anywhere in Europe, but they take Visa, MasterCard. So you're not going to need a whole lot of money, only for souvenirs, or maybe, a coffee or something. But remember, your meals are all on board the ship, and you probably aren't going to need many euros. And there is a question also if euros are accepted, and euros are accepted through the whole trip. So you'd be surprised. Some of them might even take American money, but like we mentioned before, just get it out at the ATM. So.
Yes, so that was a question. Is every location we're going to, every country currently utilizing the euro? And I feel like the answer is yes. Even those countries who I think don't officially, it seems like, they're so close to bordering countries that, that kind of carries over. But I believe the answer is yes to that. Do you know how far the train station is from the boat in Vilshofen? We will be taking the train from Munich city center to ship.
I don't think it's very far. In your eDocs, it tells you the exact location of where the ship is. It's actually this photo that we're looking at right now. So this is the dock in Vilshofen, where we'll be docking. And I think the train station is maybe 20 minutes walk. I'm not sure. It's not far, but we can certainly Google it and let you know for sure.
Do we have to pay for washrooms when we are off the ship? Goodness, I feel like that is so location specific as it relates to, it could be the same. It can vary across even specific cities. For the most part, I feel that's not necessarily. I don't remember having to have that, but I do think that, it's helpful to have some change just for purposes of that. And the front desk is super helpful. I mean, with everything. What is dressed for the concert?
So I think it's one of the nights where definitely men would wear a jacket. Women might get a little spiffier. It's a I unfortunately didn't get to go last time because I was not feeling well with a cold, and so I didn't want to, I didn't go. So did you go, Maureen? I can't remember.
I did, yes. No, I mean, I think it varies. Again, you're going to see, but I think generally speaking, possibly the nicer thing that you packed, you would wear that night. There are people who are, locally there who are absolutely dressed to the nines, but I think obviously comfort's important, but I don't think regardless of what you wear, I mean, that would be a night that I wouldn't recommend jeans probably, but I don't think other than that you would feel underdressed in any case with that. Okay, one other question. Can we pay anything in cash on the ship in euros?
So you can certainly tip any extra to anyone that you've done, that you would like to tip extra to. We'll talk about gratuities on board the ship, but gratuities, you've already prepaid the standard gratuities. But if you feel like someone has gone above and beyond and you would like to pay them some cash, you can certainly do that. But pretty much everything goes on your, there's not really too many things to buy, but you can pay in cash if you want to at the end. There was a question about entertainment on board. Maureen, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, they really, really try and capture the cultural piece of this. So in terms of, a local dance or a local performer, they will bring, one night there's a string quartet that comes on board. So there's definitely a lot, and that's usually after dinner or during the sip and sail. But there's definitely evening entertainment in addition to the musician that is, on the ship. So there'll definitely be plenty of, but you'll get a taste of kind of what's a cultural type tradition that they bring. They do a really good job with that with Alma. They're very interested in kind of sharing that cultural piece with us. I did want to follow up with the question of the train station. It looks like it's a 12-minute walk and a 3-minute taxi. Thank you, Barbara, for that information. Are there tips for tour guides? Great question. Is that included? Is that prepaid?
That's a great question. Wow. Thank you for that one. It is customary to tip your tour guides at the end of each at the end of each tour. And typically it's, a few euros per person. So, if it's a great tour, you might really make them feel great, but they're not expecting it, but it's a nice thing to do. So yes, that's a great one.
Will there be any opportunity to share our home location to the guests to identify anyone that might be traveling from the same airport, et cetera? We have a Facebook group. Obviously, we try and let that be a guide for what you're interested in sharing, just to kind of get to know each other. Someone had asked a question earlier today, like, they're not on Facebook anymore. Do they need to get back on Facebook to be able to, they feel just to make sure they're not missing out on anything? I wouldn't say that because generally speaking, anything that's being communicated from us is being shared via email as well. But I think that the Facebook group would be a really, really great way to kind of identify that. We do, Raul does, this group, it's so intimate. I mean, yes, it's 165 people, but people really do get the chance to know each other. And, Raul does a really great job of kind of identifying where people are from, where you're traveling from. So, prior to the Facebook group might be the best way. But when it relates to, being on board, I bet, we'll kind of figure those things out too. Because it's fun for us to be able to share, favorite gluten-free bakeries and things like that as well.
There's a question up here that I want to make sure we cover. We will be disembarking very early, 3 or 4 a.m. on the very last day. Would Alma still be able to provide us a meal? But I wanted to, which we talked about, but I do want to say that no matter what time your flight is, we're docked the night before in Budapest. So you can leave whatever time you need to get to the airport. And Raul can help arrange that with you. If you don't already have a transfer set up, he can call a cab or whatever needs to be done in order to get you there. So I did want to cover that because that's something we hadn't really talked about.
Someone asked about getting into the Facebook group. Any suggestions? If you've attempted, please just email us. Again, info@celiaccruise.com, and we'll happily try and help you out with that. All right. Well, I think that's the bulk of it here. Please, one more question just popped in. How much time do we need to plan when leaving to get to the airport? Is it 2 hours ahead of time, like in the US? So I guess
Raul, yeah, Raul will set up your time based on what time your flight is. He knows he does this 10 times a year with 10 different cruises or so, and he will tell you exactly what time your transfer will be. And it's usually a little more than 2 hours over there. So, and all the flights leave at the same time in the morning. So the airport's a little crowded.
They really do a great job of kind of, I don't know if I want to say holding your hand, but they really do. So when it comes to vacationing and not having to think, this is definitely the opportunity for you to do so. So yes, please, if we didn't cover anything or any specific questions in the next few weeks, like we said, we will be sending that email to you all. We'll also post it in the Facebook group. But please reach out to us as time draws near. We will keep you posted if we have any updates as it relates to the river and such. But let's all, think happy thoughts and know that we are in amazing hands with Ama. Probably the best hands we could possibly be in terms of, making this an amazing experience all around. So, but thank you all for being here tonight. We look forward to seeing you all in 24 or 22 days if you're going to Prague. So yeah, look for us in the airport or on the ship or in the Prague hotel. So thank you all so much, and we will see you soon.
Have a good night.